Hey guys, welcome back. And today I'm with Morgan Caver, who is our Director of Local Service.
Correct.
In Spiritual Life. And we're thinking like this is the last chapel that you guys will be watching, I believe. So after this, you guys get a long, well-deserved break, which is great. Think about like when I was a college student and I had breaks. They were never like really that restful. I would oftentimes like come back and realize like, oh, I still feel kind of tired and exhausted and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I know like we were talking a little bit about this idea of rest and like maybe some practical ways to find that. I'd love to like maybe throw this to you, Morgan, and ask like what has like maybe like good rest looked like in your life recently?
Yeah, I think especially when you're thinking about coming off of a break of a super busy season, often rest mistakenly can feel like I'm just going to indulge in all the things I couldn't when I was super busy. So obviously just like doom scrolling on social media forever. Like I've been guilty of that after having like a long work week. And I'm like, I'm just going to go in my room and scroll. And after that's like 3 hours later, which is crazy. And I like I feel actually more like depleted than I do rested. While we're filming this, a friend of mine and I are working on a digital fast.
Oh, nice.
And by the time this airs, it'll be done. Woohoo. But anywho, actually, I really enjoyed it. And I think part of it comes from that feeling of when I go home, my default isn't let me pick up and like scroll. And then if anybody watched Chapel a few weeks ago, it was about that. And just there's a lot of other issues when it comes to that. But I think that's something that I have experienced for sure. It's just almost feeling like, okay, I deserve to like sit and do this like very not restful thing in order to like, I guess, experience what I think is rest or like a break. But I do think that like Christ invites us into a different kind of rest for sure. Which is a cool thing to also kind of think about in the holiday season as well.
Yeah, for sure. What, like, can you explain, like you mentioned digital fast, like what exactly does that look like for you?
So for the friend and I, we kind of discussed what were the apps that we kind of go to.
Like the time wasters, basically.
Yeah, because I think like we both have Pinterest, but I don't know. It's not like something that I'm like, ooh, I just can't wait to see that next outfit inspo. Whereas like on Instagram, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what this person do, this person doing, this person doing. And then reels are just like a really easy thing that's distracting. So I got rid of Instagram, I think, and YouTube, which I'm not super on there. But anyway, she got rid of YouTube as well and a few other things. And basically the hope is to set aside that time. For one, it's helped us pick up on patterns that we have. Because I feel like when you're doing a digital fast, you also are just like bound to start just scrolling through anything. Like you'll go through your like photo log just to like scroll through the same photos from like the whole year, even just to like have something to do with your hands. But I think if anything, the biggest takeaway has been that it's brought to light certain tendencies that we have. And a lot of those have come out of times when we think, oh, this is restful. And I think at this point, this is like the halfway point, I have experienced greater rest. Like I think I've been able to supplement that time with time in the Word and also just prayer or even just quality time with people. Or this is crazy, I realized I've started to watch TV without scrolling on my phone. And even that was crazy to me to think like I generally am not usually watching shows. I'm usually like have the TV on and I'm just scrolling, which is just a really odd thing to think about. But even that in some sense has become restful because it's like a set aside time and I actually watch less TV because I'm actually watching the show. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Now I'm going to go like read or do something productive or like reach out to friends or things like that. So anyway,
that's good.
Yeah.
I think like I love like the principle of rest. I've talked about this with students and even just like some offices around our campus about like what it looks like to like rest well. And a lot of that is just like rooted in like Genesis 2, where you see, the creation of the world. God creates the heavens and the earth, and he, creates all of these things. And then it says like on the seventh day, like God rested. And it's funny because you look at that and you're just like, oh, was God tired? But like God doesn't get tired, I think he's just like modeling to us like what a healthy rhythm looks like. It's just like, yeah, you can work and do things, but then it's like have really good rest. And I think like some of us, myself included, was like would work really hard, but then like not rest good. And I think like you're touching on something that actually has been like really helpful for me too, is like the things we fill our space with, cause like we do have space and we have time that we can use however we want, but essentially it's like so easy to go into just like this mode of like, I'm just going to fill this, and keep the content going or whatever, like keep myself entertained, which is good. But I think in like, just like in, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the word, in moderation. Yeah. Sorry. Words are hard. But yeah, like doing those things in moderation. It's funny because like I've implemented, some form of like digital fast in the past where I just, it's just certain apps. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try and do those things. Gets really hard. I find myself like kind of like bending my own rules, I did it with a buddy once, and he was like, yeah, TikTok's a huge time waster. So he got off TikTok, deleted it from his phone. And then like a week later, he was sending me like YouTube shorts, and I was like, dude, you just found another like avenue of the same thing. But it's like these platforms, like they understand something about us, is like that's what we crave, and that's like the quick like dopamine hit that we all want, But yeah, like I think that's really helpful just to like find practical ways to like kind of build in that time and that space.
Yeah. Something that you said stuck out to me. You said something about like you work really hard and then don't like rest well. And I think the other day, someone in my life was talking about, it's a high schooler, and they were saying like, once I like finish all this stuff, then I can rest. And I think I've recently been pretty convicted about that, because I don't think that that's what we're called to as followers of Christ. Even I think that working hard does warrant good rest. But I don't know if the pattern should be once I finish everything I need to do, that then I have like earned rest, because rest isn't something that's earned, but rather it's like required, so that we actually can be fueled to do the work that we've been called to. And I'm even thinking about like Jesus talking about the Sabbath, and you probably know the address. I don't know the address, like where this is at in the Gospels, but he says like the Sabbath, man wasn't made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath is made for man. And so it's like, this is an invitation that we have to, to abide and to rest and to not like work. And I think that it does fuel us for the work that we're doing. And even like a couple weeks ago, I got really, really sick. And I think as I was sitting in that, I was realizing, wow, the capacity that I choose, not that I've been told I have to, but the capacity that I choose to run at on a regular basis, or like a regular basis, is not at all sustainable. And nobody is like requiring me to run at that capacity, but it's something that like I've chosen to do for, I don't know, I haven't like sat and processed why, but I think I just realized like, oh, nobody is forcing me into this. Like I have a choice, and like even my time, if I'm a follower of Jesus, even my time needs to be surrendered to the Lord as well as my rest. And like seeking him on how to spend that time well and how to spend that rest well. So
that's good. Yeah. It's like the working hard and then resting well. Like, I think it's funny because I think about when I was a college student so many years ago, because I'm so old now. But I thought I was like so busy and I know like you guys hear this probably all the time from people my age, like, oh, you think you're busy, you know, but I honestly, like I have 4 kids now. I have a full-time job. Like there's things that like I thought I was busy, you know, and then it's like over time, God has like added things into my life that's like forced me to like chip away at another level of like capacity that I didn't know I had. But like you'll realize like if you don't start to develop these practices now, if you don't develop like good habits and rhythms in your life to like rest and like rest well, then what's going to happen is like that capacity is going to continue to be, you know, things are going to continue to be added to your life and make you busier and busier. And yeah, frankly, like my own story, like there was a period where I just like totally burnt out because I was just adding things and not like accounting for like stepping back and stepping away. And when I did that, like it was just filled with still like just busyness, you know, because I didn't have discipline to like just be in silence and stillness and reflect on God's presence. Because that's like ultimately like what you're trying to do with like the Sabbath. Like if we're talking about like the Sabbath, you know, practice or resting as God did, it's really like the purpose of it is to kind of center ourselves, remind ourselves of like who we are in the midst of like God's kingdom here and now, but also that is coming. And then just like being able to delight in God, you know? And so how can I like delight in God if I'm just scrolling or I'm looking for something on, you know, Netflix or whatever? There's things that are like really fun to me that remind me of like God's goodness, you know. There's things that I like to do. Like this is not basically me saying like, hey, you can't have fun when you're resting. You have to sit and like be quiet and like not do anything, stare at the ceiling, wall, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's like being able to do the things like that you enjoy, but like in perspective of like, man, this is an awesome gift from God to be able to do this. Like, you know, if I can go to the beach, that's like my, I can't do that every week. So I don't do that every week, but when I get to, like, that's a really helpful way for me to like enjoy my Sabbath, because I can sit there for hours, you know, and it's fun, but I also am reminded of like just like God's goodness in that. So yeah, like I'm wondering like what are maybe some like practical things for students you think? I've got a few in mind, but like maybe some practical things for students heading into the break to maybe like kind of leverage that time well, or even just go into it with the like perspective or intentionality of like, hey, I want to not like waste this time. I want this time to be like refreshing and fulfilling.
So glad you asked. Anyway, yeah, I think as you were talking, one of the things I thought of was boundaries. Even just as so many college students are probably stepping into like making decisions as an adult for the first time. It can be hard to set boundaries with your time. I just remember in like college going home for the breaks, and I was just like, these people don't realize that I've been living life as an adult for like the past 3 months, and now I'm home and it's just like weird, and they're telling me what to do, or whatever. But I think just even making a plan, my dad always says, if you don't make a plan, you plan to fail. Okay. He was in the Marines, so there's that. But anywho, I do think just figuring out what time you're going to protect for rest and refreshment, and then what are you going to do? And so I think ideas or things that have been helpful for me is, if I'm going to rest, like I'm going to go to this place. If I can't make it to the beach, there's like a park that I really like by my house that I'll try and go to, or like my balcony or whatever. And when I get there, like I have a plan for like, I'm going to read these passages. I'm going to journal for this much time. I don't like journaling, but I think it's really healthy for me. And so I'll literally just set a timer and be like, I just have to do it for 10 minutes. And then I end up doing it for like 20 minutes. Yeah. And it's like super, super restful. Sometimes it may not even be fully time in the Word, or maybe that's like something I'm doing at another time, but I'll bring like another book because I enjoy reading. And I think that like fills me up as well. So yeah, find a place, find a time, find a place, and then figure out what you're going to do in that time and place. I think it's also important to remember that like you're not like being entertained isn't rest. Like, so just because you're going to like a concert or like doing something that you like, that doesn't mean that you're resting. But rest is like, you can't really rest. You're not earning rest, but also I think it's impossible to rest well unless you are stepping into purpose and doing like purposeful work, because then sometimes it can just feel like, what are you resting for? And so I think that the most helpful rest that I've had is when it realigns me with like my purpose. And so
That's good.
I think my purpose is to help students understand who Jesus is and grow in him. And so that informs like how I rest. Like, yeah. And so maybe that is something too, to like journal through or ask or like read the Bible about, or like begin to consider. It's just like, what is my purpose? And like, how does the rest that I have inform like what I'm preparing myself for?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Like you said, boundaries. I think that's like really helpful. And like everything that you're saying, like, I think it sounds like you just need to like take initiative and make that like a priority for it to like really work. And I think that's like really helpful. Like I think one of the things that like, it's important to know like the signs of, you know, within ourselves that show us like maybe we're not resting enough. Like for me, I get like really cynical and impatient with people and really like sarcastic or frustrated. And so when those things like start showing up in my life regularly, then I'm like, oh, I probably need to like power down a little bit. And so, yeah, it's like being able to recognize those things, but also like making a clear like plan for like what you said is great. Like make a clear plan for like what that looks like, and don't just like fill it aimlessly. And there's like so many tools. Like you mentioned the chapel a couple weeks ago, you know, about the digital fast. Like we have, I think we have some resources like in our like link in bio on Instagram or something. If not, we'll get them up there. But yeah, basically some like helpful tools for you guys to implement these things. Like for example, this isn't one of them, but I forgot we were even doing this today, and I've been using something called Brick, and I've had my phone bricked for like 7 hours, but it basically just like blocks all the time waster apps. It's cool. It's like a little device I put on my fridge, and I just tap it, and then it like locks my phone. Yeah. And so I can still get to
That's
stuff,
crazy.
but I just select, hey, I don't want these things. And I have to like actually go back. So until I get home to my fridge,
That's wild,
I can't get into anything. So I just will call and text and all that. So my wife can get a hold of me. But yeah, like that's something that I don't have to feel guilty about, you know, that's like, I don't have necessarily the self-control. Because if I didn't have that, like I probably would have jumped into something today. But, you know, it's like, I'm still just trying to take that initiative and put those things in place to kind of help me remain accountable and make sure I'm resting and not just getting sucked into like, you know, bad habits. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I like what you said earlier too, like this is just a good thing to start practicing now so that you have rhythms for that in the future. It's not like you're not going to be perfect at it probably ever, but like even as you start to make rhythms of rest, you're not going to be perfect at it. I also think too, like I have made a practice of just switching up rhythms in certain seasons when it makes sense, and maybe doing something different with like the quiet time or whatever. So yeah, it's okay to fail now at this and just retry something else. So yeah.
Dang. All right. So hopefully that gave you guys like some really good practical steps towards like finding rest and practicing, you know, what the Bible calls Sabbath. And I hope you guys enjoy the break and have a lot of rest and refreshment during that time. And we will see y'all next semester.